So, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. What is the significance of this story, and what can we talk about in spite of such a picture?
Hi, I'm Leapfrog.
Hello, my name is LogansStory. Welcome to LogansStory. Today we're going to talk about The Last Crusade, this Indiana Jones feature. Thank you again, and let's get started. Okay, so when you think about a movie like this, what runs through your mind? A movie in the acquaintance of danger and holiness. What is holiness? What is being set apart? And how could it really relate to the fact of all of it coming together as a culmination? In spite of the culmination, what is the real ruling about coming together and seeing things for what they are than what they're not? And the over expanding nature of what it could be to be in terms of holiness, holy. I'm talking about the Holy Grail and its uses against the power that be. And because of the power that be, what becomes of something in terms of itself? How can that something be wildly appreciated for people who are in the midst of what could be dying? Well, here's the thing. When you realize that you are on the track of holiness, it can lead to the fact of what we could actually say what everything the Holy Grail stands for. And you may be able to see that for what you want to see it for. You never know where that could come from. That thought process that is, well, the holiness, the Holy Grail. What are the nooks and crannies to this? What can we hold as something immaculate as Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? Well, let's go into detail. So, when you think about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, it's funny, it's ruthless, it's powerful, and it's endearing. The movie as a whole happens to be one of the most endearing factors in what we think is possible or not. And because of that, there seems to be something more out of the reaches of the movies that makes this movie so important and so well loved. Not as great as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark or Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but holding the same grasp in terms of what we think about Indiana Jones film, it holds true. So we need to understand something like this. It could be something more beautiful than ever. The thing that holds us together is not necessarily a Holy Grail, but the movie's representation of family. And that's the problem with what we feel now as a whole. What does a father-son relationship look like? And that's what this movie is really about. Father and son coming together to hold our adventure so true. And maybe his last days with his father, he ends up seeing the world as it is, as it may, in the realm that he sees it in. But any adventure with your dad ends up being something more important than ever before. And that is where the true adventure lies. But what does that mean for you and I? What does that mean for you and I? Well, application, of course. Okay, so you want to go on an adventure. How do you do that? How do you make an adventure with your family? How do you hold memories with your family? Stop right there. You hold memories with your family. That's the true adventure. That's the true adventure. Make memories. Make things that count. Make things matter in your own life. Because at the end of the day, it's really you and the world. So, in terms of memory making, why don't you make memories for yourself? The true adventure lies within the idea of making memories. And because of that, there's no other way to say it than this. Make sure your life is living in the life of what you wanted to live in. Otherwise, you're going to end up being on the south side of something rather than the north side of something. Left to right. And, well, how do you do that? How do you make sure you can get to a point where you feel as though you are actually creating an adventure? Well, between you and I, here's the thing. The thing is, when you have a sense of adventure, you realize how much memories you can make. And that in itself is true power of what makes adventures real. So what can we take away from this? Well, it's easy. The adventure that we seek is within the realm of what we know. And what we know is the world around us. So go ahead, hike up your boots, take up your backpack, and go on an adventure. I know I will. Thanks for coming on application. Let's continue forward. Thank you for LogansStory. Thank you for the Steven Spielberg Highlight. There are more highlights in the future, so keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. You guys know we get there by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right on the screen. Also by hitting that bell. Thank you again, and peace.